The Dutch colonization of Indonesia, a sprawling archipelago in Southeast Asia, is a tale of economic ambition and imperial dominance. Spanning over 3 centuries, the Dutch established one of the most lucrative colonial empires in history, transforming Indonesia into a global hub for the spice trade. 1. The arrival of the Dutch. The Dutch East India Company, VOC, was established in 1602 to monopolize the lucrative spice trade in Southeast Asia. At the time, spices such as cloves, nutmeg, and mace from the Indonesian islands were highly prized in Europe. The VOC initially focused on trade, establishing key outposts in places like Batavia, modern Jakarta, on the island of Java. Unlike earlier Portuguese traders, the Dutch employed more aggressive methods, including naval blockades and military force, to dominate the spice trade and eliminate competition from other European powers. 2. The expansion of control. Initially, Dutch influence was limited to trading ports and spice-producing islands like the Moluccas. However, over time, the VOC began intervening in local conflicts, aligning with certain rulers while subjugating others. These alliances and conquests allowed the Dutch to extend their reach across Java, Sumatra, Sulawesi, and beyond. The 18th century saw the decline of the VOC due to corruption and mismanagement. In 1799, the Dutch government dissolved the company, transferring its holdings to the Dutch state. This marked the beginning of direct colonial rule, known as the Dutch East Indies. 3. Economic exploitation. The Dutch introduced systems that heavily exploited Indonesia's natural resources and people. One of the most infamous policies was the cultivation system, 1830 to 1870, which required peasants to devote a portion of their land and labor to grow cash crops for export. While profitable for the Dutch, this system caused widespread suffering, famine, and poverty among Indonesians. Plantations, mining operations, and infrastructure projects further enriched the colonial government while entrenching inequality. 4. Resistance and rebellion. Throughout their rule, the Dutch faced resistance from local rulers and communities. Notable uprisings included the Java War, 1825 to 1830, led by Prince Diponegoro, and the Aceh War, 1873 to 1904, in northern Sumatra. While these rebellions were ultimately suppressed, they highlighted the widespread discontent with colonial rule. 5. The decline of Dutch rule. The early 20th century saw the emergence of nationalist movements in Indonesia, inspired by global ideas of self-determination and independence. Organizations like Budi Utomo and leaders such as Sukarno began advocating for an end to colonial rule. Dutch control weakened significantly during World War II when Japan occupied Indonesia. After the war, the Indonesian independence movement gained momentum, culminating in the proclamation of independence in 1945. Despite attempts to reassert control, the Dutch formally recognized Indonesia's independence in 1949. Conclusion. The Dutch colonization of Indonesia was driven by economic ambition but marked by exploitation and resistance. While the Dutch profited immensely, the legacy of their rule left deep scars on Indonesian society. Today, Indonesia's journey to independence stands as a testament to the resilience and determination of its people to reclaim their sovereignty.